Hello, Rebecca and Nancy. I'm in my work clothes today. So this is a club chair of the same vintage as the one that Rebecca bought and Nancy, you now have. This one already has the front plaquettes removed. This is not the plaquette from this chair, but generally these were put on with nails, like 4 nails in the corners. Occasionally they had dowels in the back or weird little tack strips with nails that came through the back of it. If it doesn't have nails through the front, that's the way you kind of have to put them back on. You can't really glue them because the leather pushes it off. To get it off, when it's on, you need to get a large flat screwdriver and go beneath the plaquette. I sometimes lay a piece of leather here to protect the leather that I'm wedging against. And I get it back here underneath the piping and I gently pry just a little bit. Then I'll move it down and I'll pry again. And then I'll pry a third time all the way around. There is a risk of splitting this board in half because these boards are thick, but they're old dry wood and they can break in half. So go slowly. If you hear any little bit of cracking, just slow down. Anyway, with the leather behind it, again, on the areas, you put this here to prevent it from making marks on the existing leather. You go behind the piping and you slowly wedge this off and it'll pop off. When it comes off, you'll see nails sticking through. Don't try to pull it through this way because it can break the wood, the head of the nail. Lay it flat against the table, hit the nail so you push it back through the leather, and then grab it with a pair of dikes or pliers and pull the nails out. There will be holes in the front of the leather, and that's typical. Most of these, 95% of what we call the plaquettes, were put on with nails. Later, when you go to put it back on, we'll put this back on. We'll position nails a little bit longer than the ones we pulled out in the same holes. Put them on with a smooth face hammer and then follow it with a nail, what do you call it? A nail punch, just so it passes through the surface of the leather but wedges deeply in the wood. And then we'll put a touch of wax over those nail holes to cover it up. That's just for the plaquettes. For the side of the leather, once you've removed the plaquette and you put the chair on its side, I don't believe you're going to have to remove the back panel. Look at the back panel here. This is the back panel of the leather. I don't believe you're going to have to remove the back panel, but if you do, you have to release it on the bottom here, which means you have to take the dust cover off on one whole side, remove the dust cover, remove the leather here, up to here, and it'll all be tacks. Then you need to take off the side panel. The side panel is going to look like this, and it's going to be along the front of this. So you have to remove the back panel. Then you have to remove the nails on the side of it, which is also on the back, on the bottom half, which is along here, and on the front here. The reason you want to relieve all the leather nails on the 3 sides, back, bottom, and front, is if you just remove the front and the bottom and try to peel it up to do the repair, you could break the leather because it is more fragile than it looks, even though it's somewhat supple. It's 67 years old. If you feel that the leather is very supple, then just relieve the bottom nails and the front nails, and then you can roll the flap up to get to your torn part, okay? These are held on at the very top by a tack strip and nails. That's where you get the break line there. And obviously you don't need to remove that because you're not taking the whole panel off. You're just flipping this up so you can access where Rebecca's has the tear right along the frame. So I'm going to do a second video in just a second and show you how to do that repair of that leather once we have it up. So again, we need to remove the plaquette. We need to remove the dust cover. We need to remove the nails on the bottom and the front of the panel. And if this leather is supple and flexible, you will be able to lift this up enough to effect the repair without removing the back too, which is cool because then you don't have to remove the whole back panel up to this top of the arm, bottom of the arm, and remove the nails on this whole corner in order to access the nails, because this panel would go on first, this panel goes on second, and then the plaquette goes on last. So that's the first part on just how to remove it. And now I'm going to grab a piece of leather and we'll show you how I would do the repair, okay?